Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're taking a look to see if we can actually build a current generation or 13th generation Intel system for £1,300 for a modest gaming PC. £1,300 modest? What does the world come to? Let's find out. Okay, so today's video is going to be somewhat of a talking head video. We're going to discuss the latest generation of the Intel 13th Gen processors, and we're going to be taking a look at building a gaming orientated PC for a moderate sum of around about £1,300 here in the United Kingdom. Now clearly, depending when you're watching this, prices may change dramatically one way or the other. The market is in complete flux at the moment, as is the economy, so yeah. As of today, the prices will be correct, but yeah, there will be links in the video description, so if you want to check out the links and also look at the PC part picker list. There's going to be two, one of which is going to be for a DDR4 based system and one is going to be a DDR5 based system. Now that is one of the benefits of Intel's 13th generation, along with 12th generation, is the fact that you can use both DDR4 and DDR5. So if you want to go whole hog and have a completely new system with all the latest technology, you can definitely do that. But if you want to actually maybe reinvest some of your money that you've spent on your DDR4, then you can transplant it into a 13th gen system. So with that said, let's take a look and see what we can do for our money. Okay, so this is the saved parts list. Again, this will be in the video description, so you want to click on it and go through and modify it to suit your own preferences and also to suit your particular currency. So at the top there, you can just change it from United Kingdom to whichever country you're in, and then you'll get the prices which are current to you, and also from retailers which are local to you. Now obviously this is starting around a Intel Core i5-13600K processor, which is listed as a 3.5 gigahertz 14 core processor. So this has got 14 cores, 20 threads, we've got 6 performance cores, we've got 8 efficiency cores, and also we've got hyper threading as well. So yeah, giving us a total of 20 threads, which is pretty outstanding really for what it is. But we do have a price tag associated with that. So as you can see from the screen there, we'll scroll down a little bit more. So we've got our i5-13600 currently retailing at £375, albeit from a few pence. So that actually puts it relatively on par with something from a previous generation from AMD, which is going to be the 3900X. So that is a 12-core, 24-thread processor, which normally retails for somewhere in the region of about £400 brand new. So in terms of value, it actually isn't looking too bad, although obviously swings and roundabouts, performance cores versus economy cores and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it is what it is. So that is the processor we're choosing for this build. We're also aiming to kind of go with a certain theme here. Now, as you well know, I am somewhat of a fanboy of MSI, and also I do like to have their components because it does integrate quite nicely in MSI Center, but probably less said about that the better. So in terms of cooling, this processor is an absolute monster and generates an absolute ton of heat. So realistically, the bare minimum you're going to want is going to be a 240mm AIO. So we've gone with the MSI Mag Core Liquid P240, as you can see here, and currently you can pick it up for actually some pretty decent prices. Tech Next Day actually had it did have it in stock for £60 at some point, but it's actually not available currently. So the closest I could find presently is going to be from, I think it was PC World here in the UK. So that is, it's £70, which I feel is still somewhat of an investment. Now clearly if you've got an older cooler, you may well be able to get an adapter to fit it. So Noctua and other companies like that easily supply adapter kits. So if you want to use it with your 1700 socket, you probably can do with other 360mm AIO if you've got one of those, or some of your bigger tower coolers like the Noctua D15. That is pretty much the lowest I would go on this particular processor. So that is our CPU and cooler. Next is going to be your motherboard. Now this is a K-series processor. There isn't going to be a great deal you're going to squeeze out of this in terms of extra performance, but certainly if you've got a K-series processor, you might as well have a motherboard which will take at least some advantage of it. So we've gone with MSI's Mag Z690 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. Now this is the DDR4 version, as you can see, because this is the DDR4 version. If we click on this link here, you can see various prices. You're going to be looking at somewhere around about the 250 mark. For someone who's got it in stock, again, prices are going to change and will be variable. Amazon.co.uk, if you've got a Prime account, you'll get it with free shipping for $255. So if you want to get it, see what it's like, and maybe send it back after 30 days, then potentially that is an option for you. But nice motherboard, plenty of features, obviously built-in Wi-Fi, you've got your Bluetooth in there, you've got 3 M.2 slots as well, 4 RAM slots, very nice VRM cooler, front mounted USB Type-C should you want to use that, and just generally an all-round nice board, and a very nice looking board actually. Next up is going to be our RAM. So I've actually gone with something not too crazy on this. So we've gone with Patriot's Viper Steel, 32 gigs. I feel that 16 gigs now is somewhere being the sweet spot, but if you are building a new system, I would probably aim to get 32 gigs. Prices are actually relatively decent at the moment in terms of RAM pricing, especially for DDR4, as it is weirdly becoming end of life. It seems like it only came out very shortly, but it's been around a little while now, so prices are dropping. So DDR4 3600 CL18 memory, £100, 32 gigs, sounds pretty good to me. Obviously there will be offers and other variables in your regions, so do check those out. Next up is storage. So we're going with the Western Digital SN570, 1TB. Now I've gone for a PCI Express Gen 3 drive on here. Clearly if you want to, you can go for a PCI Express Gen 4, Gen 5, whatever you want to do. That is going to add to the cost. This drive, in my opinion, is a good all-rounder. Decent sized cache, performs very well, and it's £70 for 1TB drive. I think is a pretty good value for money. Again, other options available. You've got the Silicon Power A60s and A70s, all that kind of stuff, should you wish to. And there's going to be other brands that will offer deals. Just, I would say, try and go for a drive which actually does have some integrated cache on it, rather than using HBM. It will give you a little bit better performance overall. Graphics card wise, this is going to be a bone of contention. I've gone with the MSI GeForce RTX3060 Ventus. The Ventus range is kind of like the entry level stuff, but graphics card prices are still pretty much in flux. I would say this is going to be very interchangeable. If you can, get a Founders Edition card from Nvidia, which generally are out of stock pretty much all the time, but you can get for the same money, in fact actually a little bit less, you can get the RTX3060 Ti, which obviously is going to be a big jump in performance. You do get less RAM on it, but swings and roundabouts there, so round about the sort of 380 mark is what you're going to be looking at spending for this particular build. Now, if you want to go higher, obviously 3070s or even one of the newer crazy graphics cards, RTX4090, you can do, and potentially you might want to do that, but for in a kind of air quotes modest system, I think the 3060 is a pretty good bang for buck. Obviously there is the AMD version as well if you want to go for an AMD card. 6700 is a good choice, 600 XT, all those kinds of things, but around about that sort of price, I feel that the 3060 offers pretty good value for money in this particular market at the moment. Case-wise, gone for something relatively standard, so we've gone for a Masterbox MB520. I've not always been a great fan of Cooler Master cases. This one is actually a pretty good shout, and for around about £70 here in the UK, again, this is kind of going to be interchangeable to whatever you particularly like. I like the fact this comes with 3 RGB fans and a rear fan as well, all for that £70 price. You could swap this out for something like the Corsair, the 4000D, 4000X, those kinds of things. Or if you want to go for something a little bit cheaper, maybe save some money if you're not going to actually see your case, then just get a box which can hold some parts. MSI do a pretty decent range of budget cases, the Vampiric 010s and those sorts of things, which we've reviewed before, which you can check out. You can often pick those up for some of the reason about £40 to £50. So technically, you could get a bit of a saving there to bring the price down. And obviously, you're going to need something to actually power this thing. So power supply-wise, again, this is going to be something which some people may agree with, some may disagree with. That is entirely up to you. And if you're buying it for yourself, then obviously put in there whatever you want. For me personally, the Colink Enclave power supplies, I've actually been using a 600 watt version, which you can check out from the links in the video description. That's been actually really good, and I've been using that with a AMD Ryzen 5800X with the RTX 3060 Ti, and it's only a 600 watt, but it's been absolutely flawless. So certainly if you want to, you could go with that. 700 watts is kind of like the recommended spec from pcpartpicker with this particular level of system. So you could also, if you want to go higher if you want to, but this should be absolutely fine. Gold certified, fully modular to make a build nice and easy, and that comes in around about £70 also. So that's going to give us a grand total for our DDR4 based system of £1,386.19. So we've kind of overshot our £1,300 kind of imaginary budget. Obviously you can tweak this a little bit more. Maybe if you don't need the CPU cooler, you could get something a little bit cheaper. Same with the motherboard, you could go for the Dash A version, which actually in the next version of this particular list, there is going to be that option. So let's take a look at the DDR5 version. So now we've switched gears a little bit and we've gone with the DDR5 version. Again, trying to get around the £1,300 but imaginary budget, which I've imposed on myself. Same processor, same cooler. Motherboard we've changed, we've gone for a bit of a drop down, technically in terms of specification, and we have omitted things such as Wi-Fi and that kind of stuff. Still actually pretty decent looking board,
The Dash A series has always been pretty good value for money in my personal opinion. Let me know what you think. Still looks very nice. You've still got your 3 M.2, well actually technically you've got 4 M.2 slots there. So you've got the top one there and 3 others. No coolers actually on the lower ones, which is a little bit of a shame, but still very decent VRM, nice looking board, very modest looking, and will fit in with pretty much most builds. Doesn't have any sort of weird colours going on. This board at the moment, Tech Next Day we're out of stock at £200, but eBuyer and Novatech are coming in around about the 215 mark, so those are options for us here in the United Kingdom. Amazon, sadly, a little bit more expensive. They are in stock. You're looking at 226.62, so yeah, that's quite a jump in price, so 25 quid extra when you could get it from Tech Next Day when it's in stock. And obviously to go with that, we're going to need some DDR5 memory, so I have not gone completely crazy on specs here, just gone from relatively generic Corsair Vengeance 32 gigs, so it's 216 gig 6 DDR5 5200 mega transfers, CL40. This is actually not a bad price really, considering it is brand new technology. Scan here in the UK and Box doing it for relatively similar prices, so 150 from Scan, looking at 160 from Box, and if you want to go with Amazon, they seem to be having a bit of a role here with being more expensive than everybody else, and they are currently at 175.20. Obviously, again, depending on your region and availability, you may find something cheaper and better. If you do, let me know in the comments. Other than that, pretty much exactly the same. Sadly, we have overshot our imaginary budget once more. Our £1,300 is turned into £1,400, so maybe this should be okay for a 14th gen system, should that ever come to light in the foreseeable future. But I think this is kind of what I would be looking at personally. If I had £1,300 to spend and I wanted to buy a brand spanking new 13th gen Intel system for gaming primarily and also for some productivity, obviously with those type of cores, it's going to be absolutely fine and you're going to get most tasks done very easily. And it is going to compete very well with the last generation 12900K, almost closer to a 12700K, and is going to give you very similar results to gaming in terms of the 5900X, that sort of thing from AMD. So there we go, we've had a look at DDR4 and DDR5 systems. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. I still think personally, from my own point of view, I feel that the whole power usage and just trying to get the fastest possible processor out there on the market is kind of hurting it a little bit, and the value for money kind of, for me, I don't think is quite there. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I'm actually still thinking that DDR4 systems based around the AM4 and possibly even the older 10th and 11th gen Intel systems maybe holds better value, and obviously manufacturers and retailers are going to be trying to clear that stuff out to make way for the latest and greatest of the 13th gen and also AM5 systems and components, so you may be able to pick up some bargains. At the moment, it's coming up towards the end of October here, 2022. We have got Black Friday and all the kind of Christmas and festivity sales going on, so hopefully we'll see some price decreases. But the way the economy is pretty much around the world, I think it's possibly going to go the other way. A little bit depressing, unfortunately, this news, but hopefully things will get better, and hopefully the prices will drop a little bit as we start seeing other processors come out from AM5, also being kind of the lower end processors, maybe a 600 series or lower, some lower core counts, that kind of stuff, and the same for Intel. It'd be nice to see some real competition in that sort of budget range, and also for motherboards to get a little bit cheaper. Really looking forward to seeing some budget boards coming out to make this all somewhat more of a reality. Do we need all these features on a motherboard? Do we need excessive VRMs? Possibly not these days, because processors are pretty much pegged to the limit straight out of the box anyway, but anyway, it is what it is. So let me know what you think about this in the comments section below, but for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.